We're at a time when the challenges in the external world seem insurmountable. We wake up every morning and we're hit by headlines about uncertainty, fear, conflict, and many ways in which the world is just getting worse.
We need everybody to build new, deep relationships that we know will ultimately lay the groundwork for the next 10, 20 years to change the world.
All of us, the reason why we are activists is because it comes from the idea to act. Whether we like it or not, we are leaders.
Indigenous-led practice is holistic, and that's how we see the world.
We are committed to working for the betterment of human flourishing. So commitment to equity, a commitment to impact.
The Atlantic Fellows community is made up of 7 different programs, which are distinct in their focus but united in their effort to address the systemic causes of inequity. The beauty of the Atlantic Fellows community is that we're not designed for short-term reactionary responses. We're designed to pause, to look back at history, to learn about what's worked in the past, and to create a better future through the work that all of us do and through the expertise we bring.
The story behind the values of Atlantic start with Chuck Feeney, the founder. Chuck made his fortune principally in the duty-free business, but from that fortune invested in many other businesses globally. In 1982, he was starting to think about what to do with his wealth.
In the world we live in today, there is such a need to reach out and help people.
Become engaged, give it your all, use your resources sooner rather than later to make a difference.
Each time you can address their problem, you help them to move forward and to feel that life can change and I can change it.
Giving while living is something that Chuck Feeney has embraced and lived. The philanthropy of the foundation was really driven by recognizing dynamic individuals who are making a difference. Those were the roots for an Atlantic Fellows program. Over Atlantic's 37-year existence, Atlantic has made over $8 billion in grants. We wanted to end in the most impactful way possible. The final collection of grants represented by the Atlantic Fellows totals $700 million. It's our largest investment to date to affect change in a lasting and meaningful way.
Atlantic Fellows for Racial Equity is located in the United States of America as well as South Africa. These 2 countries have inspired generations of activists, of political leaders and thinkers.
The systemic problem with education is that it's not centered in racial equity. It's not centered in racial justice.
We're here to put pressure on City Council and the mayor to say it's time to get to work. It's time to put forth a budget that is centered in racial justice. They have an opportunity to make sure those dollars that were meant for these children get to these children, get to these communities.
Liberation to me means that every day a child wakes up, they will have food to eat that's healthy. They will have a roof over their head. They will smile when they wake up, when they go to school, and when they come home.
Our collective fight is that we must see beyond ourselves, acknowledge the privilege that we all have, and utilize that to uplift Black and brown children, Black and brown communities,
so that they will be able to taste liberation.
At the Atlantic Fellows for Racial Equity, I don't think our programming has ever stayed still. As the world continues to move, our fellows continue to grow and evolve. We're learning from the work and evolving, but so is the world.
When you look at traditional instruments, they've lost their value. The young people, there's not so much that they know about their own history. I am using traditional bow instruments as a symbol of purification against colonialism, against white supremacy, against anti-Black racism. Liberation, for me, starts with self, to never bow on someone else.
One of the incredible surprises that I've experienced as a result of working at Atlantic Fellows for Racial Equity has been seeing the unexpected ways in which the work we do focused on South Africa, the United States, and the experiences with anti-Black racism and white supremacy there, what the cascading implications and effects have been around the world. So what I hope moving forward is to continue to sort of shift from an insular view of trying to only focus on these two cases, but since they both function as the spear's edge, as it were, the spear's end of anti-Black racism and white supremacy, I believe they have so much to offer to the wider world.
The Atlantic Fellows for Social Equity program is a unique program in the world in that it is bringing together Indigenous and Pacific leaders to focus on social change leadership and to really strengthen and advance Indigenous communities and rights.
I'm a deaf Aboriginal woman. I travel around Australia working with deaf and hard of hearing Aboriginal people who are often marginalised by the system and how that impacts on their lives. As you can see, I look white. People have these assumptions that this is not my community, and I say, excuse me, this is my culture, this is my community. I can't give it up. In Australia, we have the highest number of Aboriginal people or Indigenous people with a hearing loss in the world. So always have that very open mindset. What are some things that are important to be able to connect and communicate with Aboriginal people, especially those that are deaf and hard of hearing? The fellowship gave me the opportunity to connect deaf Aboriginal women. The government, they fail to provide, they fail to protect. And so for us, as deaf Aboriginal people, we have no voice. And if I can give just a little bit of my knowledge to empower people to be the best that they can be, why wouldn't I?
There are about 470 million Indigenous people in the world, and 70% of those Indigenous people are based in the Asia-Pacific region. Indigenous people often have solutions that the world needs.
The system's only going to change from people who buck up against it.
The Atlantic Fellows for Equity and Brain Health bring together fellows from around the world and from all disciplines, really every discipline you could imagine, looking for people who could help us with our mission, which is to protect the world's aging populations from threats to brain health.
Most studies about Alzheimer's disease and dementia have been done in developed countries. One of the benefits of the Atlantic Fellowship for Equity in Brain Health is that we're now able to add to the conversation and our voices are being heard.
How you been?
Well,
The memory never so good.
no.
What about Mrs. McDonald?
Well,
Don't know what
she
again.
have a multiple amount of problems.
So do you think that she would benefit if the clinic was able to
If
come to her?
yeah.
Yeah?
Greatly.
Greatly? Yeah.
It isn't enough to think that the clinical neurosciences or the basic neurosciences alone will address these challenges to brain health. We need various perspectives coming to the table, and that's where the magic occurs.
This is a model of global health where people can lean on each other and listen to solutions that work in different contexts to solve the challenges within their country, their region, their community.
My research project is a feasibility study on a home-based primary care program to socially isolated older adults who are cognitively impaired to see if we can decrease their rates of acute hospitalization, if we can improve their quality of life, and if there is some improvement, how can we do this on a larger scale?
We do have a very strong focus on dementia, but we also focus on brain health more generally and brain health as prevention for dementia and neurodegeneration, recognizing that challenges to brain health are important to address in order to prevent and reduce the impact of dementia long term.
Being an Atlantic Fellow, it gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of community and a feeling of belonging on a world stage.
Atlantic Fellows for Health Equity, based at the George Washington University, is aimed at developing leaders in health equity from all over the world. The program for health equity in Southeast Asia grew out of our work in Vietnam, but expanded to health equity in Southeast Asia. In South Africa, we have initiated a health equity fellowship program based at Tucano.
The vision of the program is a more equitable South African society where all people enjoy equal health status. Our mission is to build a community of people who share commitment to health equity, who want to advocate and learn and collaborate to address the social, economic, and other drivers of health inequities.
We need resources that helps the community to move forward. If people do not have land, then they develop other health issues.
Sure, that's the way of saying
it. Occupation is a means to an end, to put the state under pressure. You occupy, but the struggle continues because you still want the place to be formally developed.
We are coming here to reclaim our land, to reclaim our spirit, to reclaim our identity.
Land is the primary source of life. It gives us food, it gives us water, it gives us a possibility as a human being to live a life with dignity and respect.
When I think about being an Atlantic Fellow, I think about being a change agent. I developed a pipeline program to try and encourage underrepresented African American women and other groups to pursue careers in healthcare.
If we're going to get to a place where we're able to meaningfully address these really persistent inequities in health, we need to try new strategies. Our fellows who have those stories, who have already realized success and are able to share that, are able to inspire their others who are just starting on that journey.
I grew up in North Memphis, single parent home, did not know my father, and I ultimately went to Harvard University. So never put a limit to what you can do.
At my office, I have an open door policy where if a student has an interest in any field of healthcare, they can come and shadow me.
You can keep this jacket too. Thank you.
It'll be official.
Kayla, did you enjoy it today?
I did enjoy it. You really have me really thinking about going into the dentistry field.
You have a lot of time to decide, what you want to do, but definitely follow your heart.
Being an Atlantic Fellow has made me reevaluate my career trajectory. And I think in order to have long-term, long-standing change, you have to have a seat at the table. And that's all a result of being a part of this fellowship.
The diversity of our fellows keeps growing, and we keep learning as the community becomes more diverse and as we reach out to those who have entirely different ways of approaching these problems.
The Atlantic Fellows for Health Equity in Southeast Asia reaches through all the countries of Southeast Asia plus China. Our mission is for a fair, healthier Southeast Asia through the development of a new generation of young change maker in the region to improve health equity.
There are between 60,000 to 100,000 child victims in the sex trafficking industry in the Philippines. I work with the government to ensure that its systems are able to serve the poor who are victims of violence. We focus on cases where there really is a current victim in clear and present danger.
We did the raid on this one, November.
Our fellows are an amazing group of people who are diverse in their background. We have lawyers, teachers, artists, musicians, journalists. They come from all walks of life. They are united in a common desire to improve social justice in their community, in their countries, and in the region.
The fellowship has helped me as a leader, employing adaptive leadership, because I've always wanted to level up in that way. Paper Project has its own mission to provide decent work to survivors of exploitation. It is giving tools to the community of survivors to flourish and thrive.
Health equity is not just about the health sectors. It's about issues that transcend sectors, that transcends country, that transcends nationalities. If you want to find durable solutions, you have to really address the system holistically.
The Atlantic Fellows for Social and Economic Equity program, based at the London School of Economics, combines cutting-edge research on inequalities with the work of our fellows from across the globe.
I work with widows in a rural community in Kenya. I love my culture, and it's a beautiful culture. But widows experience stigma in many levels. The widow has to be sexually cleansed to clean her of the omen of death. It is repeated and repeated and repeated, and it's clouded in a blanket of silence. It is the one place that HIV and AIDS continues to be spread without anybody looking at it. What are your challenges? Where are your needs? I got widowed at 32. And then I got to be pressured to be cleansed. I knew I had to stand up for myself. What I did not know at the time is that I was standing up for the dignity of thousands of widows who are afraid to speak up, showing them that this is doable and you can drive your own change.
Our fellows come from across the globe, but what links our fellows is their commitment to work collectively in a values-led manner to achieve change, to transform their societies, to tackle inequalities wherever they are in the world.
The Atlantic program did not only open my mindset, but it opened my worldview. Without the Atlantic program, I wouldn't have shifted the Widows program to work with men. Something is happening. The networks of widowhood and widow groups, it is a force to reckon with. Somebody will have to listen. And in the long term, widows will have dignity.
When the fellows graduate from one of the 7 Atlantic Fellow programs, they become a part of a diverse, growing, and vibrant global community. The Atlantic Fellows community is essentially a community of change makers, but they're change makers who are rooted both in their local contexts as well as in their unique disciplines. So you have, in effect, a transnational and an interdisciplinary body of thinkers, of creators, of practitioners.
Just seeing how other people do things differently help open up new possibilities, new ways of thinking, new way of addressing the same problem.
It could be an activist from Brazil, a doctor from South Africa, a researcher from the Philippines or the United States. So what we have is a kind of a living, breathing organism of change making. Once the Atlantic Fellows graduate from their respective programs, they become global fellows. They become part of the community that the Institute holds and curates. And the Institute's responsibility is to ensure continued learning and leadership across the course of the Atlantic Fellows professional journey. The Institute offers in-person events that allow the fellows to get together in different ways to understand the Atlantic Fellows community itself and understand what the Institute can offer through its partnerships and location in Oxford. The Atlantic Institute serves as a bridge between the fusion of ideas, the creative proposals that are generated within the Atlantic Fellows community, and the wider, much larger world of organizations, networks, agencies that can actually bring the kind of resources and scale and visibility to the ideas that the fellows generate. The Atlantic Institute is located at the Rhodes Trust in Oxford. Oxford is globally known as a hub for the exchange of knowledge, the growth of expertise, and given our focus on emerging challenges and changes, this is really a prime place to be. The value of being in the Rhodes Trust is, of course, accessing their extensive network of Rhodes scholars. There are 5,000 of them across the world who also represent different disciplines, expertise, diverse geographies. The Rhodes Trust also hosts the Smith Science Fellows Network, which is again a very valuable partner for the Atlantic Institute. So this becomes the perfect place really to engage, to bring together many stakeholders who are instrumental in the effort to address equity. We're very aware of the controversial history of Cecil Rhodes, and that is a focus of conversations that we have with Atlantic Fellows when they come here. And it is part of the journey of leadership. It's a part of acknowledging difficult histories, knowing how to work through them.
As a part of being a fellow, it was important, incredibly important to connect with so many folks. But to be then put in the Rhodes Center to discuss equity was hard. On the other hand, the people there, we had a lot of the shared values, and we had similar sentiments about it.
As lifelong fellows, they get to spread conversation and those perspectives among others. And we are seeing how these fellows are becoming a resource beyond just their immediate community. That's then helping to kind of bring closer to the program and the community people who we would otherwise perhaps not be collaborating or working with.
In most cases, activists, they always give care to other people without giving care to themselves. So I learned about that it is important for me to also give care to myself as a person so that I can then be able to serve other people.
My culture to your culture, I acknowledge, I see you, thank you.
Fellows reflect on the fact that they are emboldened to take risks that they wouldn't otherwise have taken. They feel supported by the community to take on grander visions, bolder goals, and that's exactly what's needed in this space.
We feel that the real value is when fellows come together and co-create a response that's more than the sum of their individual parts.
This exchange for me is to find a global means of solidarity. How do we realize that we all belong under this universe, and how can we help one another?
The biggest thing is the value of relationships. There would never be an opportunity to meet with change makers of this caliber from all over the world. You just couldn't create this.
It's a collective we that needs to make this change. Come in ready to receive.
Let's keep the momentum going. When we go back to our countries, let's still keep the connection going.
We know we're having an impact in several areas: climate change, extended realities, and emerging tech, community organization, how communities show up, and connecting communities who face the worst equity challenges.
I imagine 10, 15, 20 years from now that a community of Atlantic Fellows, which will range in the thousands, they will in fact change the aspirations that we share as a society as a whole.
And I think that's the most important contribution that we've made as a community, really getting the people who have the ability, the power to make changes together in a way that enables a better world and future for all. Welcome.
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 Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome to the Atlantic Fellows.